Hello, everybody, and welcome. This is untethered.tv. I'm your host, Rob Woodbridge. This is that place where we take a deep dive into the mobile industry, where we talk to some of the guys who are changing the industry, building the industry, pushing the industry forward. Maybe some of them are building products that you don't even know you need yet, but you will. Today, we're going to take a deeper dive into something called the airline industry. How are these guys, how is one airline in particular, in fact, JetBlue, how are these guys actually building out this industry? How are they actually building product that benefit their customers? How are they using it to interact with them, sell product, socialize, coupons, loyalty, all that kind of stuff? We're going to dive into it. And I got the perfect guy. I last sat down with Jonathan maybe in the fall of 2010, something called Mobile Internet World, I think it was called, Mobile Internet Week. And it was in Toronto, and I sat down, and Jonathan was actually at that point with the Mobile Marketing Association. So we're going to talk about his transition from the Mobile Marketing Association into JetBlue Airlines, and actually leading up the head of mobile for JetBlue Airlines. So we're going to dive into this, and it's my pleasure to welcome back to the show for round two, Jonathan Stephen, head of mobile for JetBlue Airlines. Jonathan, welcome, man. Welcome.
Rob, it's good to see you again. How are you?
So great. I'm so happy that you could do this. I'm glad that not only that we can reconnect since our last brief visit in Toronto almost 2 years ago, but also because what you're doing with JetBlue, very cool, and the transition from the Mobile Marketing Association into this. I want to talk all about that. So first of all, let's talk about a little bit about you. How, when we last met, the Mobile Marketing Association transitioned into a big brand. Just talk, summarize the last maybe 18 months about this transition that you've gone through.
Well, it's been a great transition, and I'm very happy to be here at JetBlue Airways. And, when I was at the Mobile Marketing Association, I had the opportunity to speak with various different mobile experts around the world and to travel to many different conferences. And the idea of the Mobile Marketing Association was to build education and build guidelines for brands and agencies to be able to embrace this technology. So over the course of time that I was there, not only was I able to help the industry grow and to build standards, but I was also able to learn myself a wealth of information. And I've taken this information and moved on to my next role, where I'm head of mobile at JetBlue Airways. And am able to use all of this technology and all of this knowledge that I have to bring it to our customers here at JetBlue Airways. Your sound went out.
Live editing. When did all this happen? When did you transition from the MMA into JetBlue?
So I moved over to JetBlue Airways in March of 2011. At the time, I was at the Mobile Marketing Association. I was the director of industry initiatives. I had overseen many of the various different committees in the US and also within Europe and Asia as well. And it came time for me to take all this knowledge that I had and put it to practice with a global brand.
Well, I mean, I think it's great, and it's like kind of being a lawyer in a practice in a firm, and then stepping out and actually applying that to one company, being the in-house counsel. So you're the in-house counsel for the mobile side of JetBlue. I love that. I love it.
Exactly. And one other thing I want to note to that is, for the past 10 years, I've actually been a very, very loyal flyer of JetBlue. So to be able to take mobile, to take a brand that I love, and to pull it all together, it just makes it all that more exciting for me, because I'm filling a cause that I'm basically helping the brand that I love embrace the channel. And so basically I get up every day loving my job, loving my brand, and basically helping my customers enjoy JetBlue just that much more.
Is that important? I see a lot of people. I walk through this. I work with some of the biggest companies in Canada, the biggest chains, like some of the biggest newspaper chains, for example, in Canada, trying to help them transition into this space. And, I have a passion for this industry, and people look at I have a passion for the mobile industry, and I think that it can benefit so many different companies in so many different ways. But sometimes when I walk into those organizations, it's like a stone wall, right? They don't have that same passion I have for mobile. They don't see the impact that mobile can have as much as I do. So I bump into a wall, quite literally, and because they just don't have that passion. So how important was it for you to really love JetBlue before you actually stepped in there and took over it, leading the mobile?
Well, one thing I've taken across my career, this goes all the way back to the beginning of my first job. I'm always very passionate about the brand or the company that I work for. I have to believe in their product, believe that this is something customers absolutely want. And coming into JetBlue, I had quite a few True Blue points, so there's really nothing to dispute that I wasn't a loyal flyer. And again, I've been very loyal to the mobile industry as well. I'm coming close to 10 years of being in the mobile industry across various different disciplines. I always like to say my humble beginnings were starting as selling cell phones in a mall and just being able to use the various different cell phones and to talk to different customers and to understand what their needs and wants. And then to move on to there, to be an engineer at Motorola, to be able to get into the guts of the devices and to learn how they work and work with the mechanical engineers and the electrical engineers. And then to move on to application development, where this boomed in 2007, where the iPhone first came out, and I started developing my first apps with companies like Vindigo, and I worked with Flurry for mobile analytics. So when you look at all these various different companies I've worked for, I've touched every point of mobile. And it's almost like this beautiful buffet. I've tasted everything. And now to be able to take all of that and use it with JetBlue, it's absolutely fantastic for me. I'm able to just take this technology and create a product where we can take the JetBlue brand and have the customers experience JetBlue with all of the content and all of the rich features that they can use.
I love that. A buffet of mobile experience. It's so appropriate. But your history is very much around being centered in the mobile industry, right? So it's about mobile companies like Flurry and working with the carriers and working with the application developers, but JetBlue is a terrestrial company, right? It's a non-mobile based company, and you're bringing that mobile expertise in. How much of a shift was that for you?
So that's a great point because this was a bit of a challenge for me. I'm now in a vertical that has nothing to do with the technology in and of itself, but it's actually putting everything I've learned and putting it to practice. And I come from two sides of this. I feel that I'm an internal evangelist for JetBlue to be able to get everyone to understand how the technology works, how they can leverage it within their various different groups. So aside from my job of building out products for JetBlue, I work with the marketing and advertising team to see how we can engage with customers through some of the marketing channels. And I'm also speaking with other groups such as our regional marketing teams and also our corporate social responsibility teams of, again, how can we leverage this channel internally as an organization? Now, it's not just for customers as well. From an efficiency side, even internally, we want to use mobile to be able to reach to our crew members for scheduling, for information. So mobile is something that touches companies not just externally for their customers, but also internally. It makes us more efficient. So having a good understanding of that is key. And so for many years, I had to teach many brands of how they can use mobile efficiently, externally and internally. And now I'm able to put that to practice here at JetBlue.
So it's all the stuff that we've been preaching, the impact that mobile's going to have on industry, the impact that it's going to have within a company and externally. I mean, I don't know how to ask this question because I want the answer to be 100% yes. So that's how you have to answer this. Is it true? When you brought all that expertise, you've been coaching companies for 10 years on how to do this, and you step into a company and now it's time to implement what you've been coaching. Impact? Big impact? Are you seeing it? Okay,
huge
good.
impact.
Thank you.
Huge. Puts a smile on my face every day.
So that's good. I'm glad to hear that. Or else we would have stopped the interview. I would have shut down Untether. We would have gone our merry way. But so let's talk about this. That the transition has happened. You've been in there for over a year now, just over a year. What are the biggest things that you've noticed? And I want to get into what JetBlue is doing in the mobile space, but is there anything big observation that you've seen that they've realized since you've been there about how big and how important mobile is to their business?
Sure. So before I came on board, JetBlue had actually a mobile presence. We created a mobile website. And the purpose of that website was basically to give customers the ability to access JetBlue content in a mobilized format. My job when I first came in was really to survey the land, understand what we're doing with mobile, understand the current vendors that we're working with. And over the course of the last year, it really was an optimizing effort. It really was, I had to come in and understand how the various different groups would either like to use mobile or understand how they are currently using mobile, and then basically streamline that process across the organization. So the first was an overhaul of our mobile site. I had to take a look at it and see what services are we offering to our customers? And also, I think a key point to that is understanding the analytics behind that product, understanding how our customers are using it, where are they using it, and what are some of the features they tend to use more than others. And I always feel that when you're building out your mobile strategy, you have to be a bit agile and make sure that you're adjusting to your customers' needs. You can't be static, and there's no one way to reach out to your customers. You can't take an example of one retailer and apply it exactly to your brand. It makes sense to know your customers, know how they're coming to you, and in turn give them the content that they specifically need.
That's a really important point here, is that a lot of people are selling cookie cutter solutions, right? Where it's one size fits all. Your market, your customers are the same as their market and their customers. And that the thing about mobile, and we've talked about this, we mentioned this way back in 2010. You've been preaching this for 10 years, is that it's such a unique experience when I pick up my phone versus when you pick up your phone. It's unique to me. That experience is very personal. And you bring that into JetBlue. How did it take a while for you to really start to permeate this, to get that mobile mantra going through, even though they had the website set up and they were thinking mobile?
So, what's interesting about that is I always have known that the medium is extremely personal and very unique to the user. But what I needed to understand and learn over the past 12 months was how well JetBlue, what emphasis JetBlue places on knowing their customers and delivering them the services that they specifically need. JetBlue places a high importance on delivering to their customers. And when it came to using this channel, we had to figure out what were some ways that we can improve this experience. So I didn't have to, I was fortunate to come into JetBlue and see that we already had a mobile site, but there was so much more we can do. And when you look at the industry as a whole, today you see your connected travelers that are going to the airport and they have their iPads, they have their mobile devices. They want to be connected to their friends and family, their offices, and most importantly, they want to be connected to their travel experience. They just want to know what's going on. They want to have that information at their fingertips and be able to make decisions right there and there.
All right. So what is JetBlue doing in the mobile space? Aside from the mobile website, the application, let's first talk about those. What are the functions of those tools that you've built out for them?
Sure. So taking a quick step back, what we did over the last 12 months was we looked at how we're basically serving up content to our customers digitally. And we undertook a project called our digital refresh. We actually revamped our website, we revamped the mobile site, and we launched our first iPhone application. We're also working on other platforms as well to make sure that we can reach out to other users. The idea was that we wanted to build beautifully designed digital products that allow our customers to connect with us and also make their travel experience more enjoyable. So there were some of the things that we worked on was making sure that the website was easily accessible across various different digital platforms, including tablets. We also wanted to make sure that the features were specifically relevant to the user and that they improve the experience. We see this in the industry that there's this push and pull mechanism where for many years customers would have to pull information from their airlines. Well, what we wanted to do was push this information to the users. We wanted to be proactive. And so we created a feature called travel modes. And this is something across all of our digital channels, especially the website and the iPhone application, where once you book a flight on JetBlue, we're able to know where you are in the travel experience, and we're able to serve up content specifically at that time. So for example, if you book a flight 3 days out, your flight will populate on the website, and if you look at your mobile phone, it will also populate on the phone. And when the flight comes within 24 hours, the experience will change in both channels, where it'll show you the specific information for that day because that's your focus and that's what you want to know. So you're able to see check-in information, you can book a car, you can share the experience with your friends or family. And as that experience changes, we serve up the relevant content based on that time up until the time you take off.
How important was that? I mean, that's like a great first step because it's the promise of integration, right? And I love that, is that make my travel experience seamless, and you're eliminating steps for the average consumer. It gets populated, it changes the context, as you said, within 24 hours. But it also opens up for great opportunities for enhancing an experience in an airport, enhancing an experience when you land. But was this the first step that you guys took, right?
Well, the first step was really just understanding how our customers are using our website. Where are they accessing our information? How are they
Right.
accessing it? What are some of the features that they tend to like? And also, we wanted to hear from our customers. We listened to them. So before we undertook this project, we held we call it a Jet Views panel, which was a focus group of our most frequent travelers. And we asked them, what are some of the things that you want to see on the new JetBlue.com? We also took feedback from our current crew members because we also want have an opinion as well as employees, and we want to be able to have a say in how the website will actually look. So we spoke to the pilots, we spoke to in-flight, spoke to various different operations group. We took the information together, and based on this data, we're able to determine that customers really want something that's easy and simple to use. They want something that's modern. We also wanted to take into consideration that the site needs to be modular and scalable because we're going to add more functionality into the future. So how can we design something today that looks great, but we're able to build on it into the future? So not only did we do this with our website, but we also did this with our mobile application as well.
I mean, I love that because you have to bring in customer feedback. The goal here is not to just create an app that they download once when they're flying JetBlue once. The goal here is to actually create stark raving mad customers, loyal customers that are going to use this every time that they fly with you, and you're trying to convince them to fly with you more. Is mobile?
Sure, and I'm sorry, that's a great point, Rob. One of the key facets of our website and our mobile application is how we tie into our loyalty database. So we have a loyalty program called TrueBlue. And really, to be able to take advantage of all these amazing features that we have in our digital products, we'd like you to be a TrueBlue member. Now, it kind of goes both ways. We reward you for all the activity that you do on JetBlue. At the same time, because we know more about you and we know your preferences and your likes and dislikes, we're able to give you content that is specifically for you. And as you travel more with JetBlue, we'll know what to serve up to you. We'll know what to suggest to you based on your travel habits. So taking this TrueBlue account helps us it's almost like a connective tissue across our different platforms. And again, we're able to know everything that is specific about you. And that goes along with our brand, which is you above all. We want to make sure that our experience puts you above all.
So how has that benefited you guys? Have you noticed any tangible outcome from this, from extending your brand this deeply into the mobile space? Has it engendered that loyalty that you were looking for?
So, we're proud to say we have a very loyal fan base of JetBlue flyers. And without any advertising whatsoever, when we launched our iPhone application, we saw amazing numbers of downloads just within the first week of putting it out. And these were customers that have been waiting loyally to see our first iPhone application. And the feedback was favorable. Customers have looked at it. They've been able to use the application. Going beyond the flight experience, we wanted to figure out what are some other things we can give to our customers that they can use to enhance their experience. So in the application, we put in fun stuff, which is the ability for customers to either download their favorite JetBlue tail fins or wallpapers and put them on their device. And also they're able to create a postcard and send that to their friends or family. So outside of the travel experience of booking and managing your flight, what are some of the things that they can do to pass the time at the airport or while at their destination? They can still use the application to enhance their travel experience.
That's very cool. Yeah, and it would almost seem logical that you could partner with some game companies, or you want to keep them in that JetBlue experience as long as you possibly
Sure.
can. Okay, sure. You mentioned we're going to come back to the user, to the consumer, but you said something at the very beginning that was really interesting. Is that mobile is not only about the external use. So it seems logical that a company like JetBlue, an airline, would create an application that did all the planning and the scheduling and notifications and alerts and location-based marketing, and we'll talk about that again as well. But you also said something which is internally, right? Which I think is one of these, if the consumer is the tip of the iceberg, and I think that's where we are. The consumer is that tip of the iceberg that are using it. It's how you use it internally that's going to make such a big difference. And even so, companies like Amazon have got this down to a science where you walk into the warehouse in Amazon, in their warehouses, and every time you order a book, it triangulates the person who's closest to where that book is on the shelf, that they pack it up for you, so that's how they use location and mobile to really create a very, very, very fast ecosystem and warehousing process. I mean, internally, there's got to be so many opportunities to streamline processes as a result of mobile, just like Amazon's done. Are you guys looking at that right now?
Absolutely. We are looking at our internal processes and trying to figure out where mobile fits in. And that's a great question. I think the first year of me being at JetBlue was taking the time to understand our current lay of the land, understand our capabilities, align ourselves with some great vendors that have some great capabilities. And I'm looking forward to this year where we'll be able to improve some of our internal processes. And, we're talking to our pilots right now about the ways that they can use mobile, perhaps use iPads, some of our in-flight team as well. Also into the future, as we improve some of our onboard offerings, we'll have to kind of think of how our crew can use mobile, perhaps tablets or mobile devices, to be able to service our customers. And then also there's our scheduling team, where what more of an efficient way is there than to reach out to our crew members through their mobile device to let them know perhaps when they need to be on their next shift. So there's so many different ways that we can use mobile internally, and I'm really excited to get engaged with the operations team here to be able to implement some of these strategies.
Is there such thing as taking on too much when it comes to mobile transformation? Because, with a company like JetBlue, you've got the outbound stuff, you've got the internal stuff that you're looking at, you've got how people use the device, just amongst each other, how you communicate. Is there a risk that some companies just take on too much? And I like the way that you're doing this. Let's focus on, establishing the ground level first. Let's just build the base, and then, our first thing obviously is to our customers. We got to create that loyalty. We got to engender that loyalty. So we're going to go to this level, and then we're going to see what we can do to optimize things internally with mobile. We'll go up to this level, and then we're going to bump it up a little bit when we're going to start talking about location-based marketing and partners in airports and cities that we fly into. So we'll do that on the consumer side, and then we're going to talk about in-flight entertainment and the way that we modify the backs of the seats so that we bring in iPads and check-in is seamless and faster. And is it a step approach like that for you guys?
I am always going to say that you can do too much in mobile. And the reason I say that is simply because I think one of the biggest mistakes that brands make is they do mobile for the sake of doing mobile.
Oh, I hate that.
If you have business need, if you have a business need within your organization that mobile can solve, then implement it. Mobile should always be a tool that can help your organization grow and be more efficient. The moment you start implementing mobile strategies that have nothing to do with your core business and don't benefit you and actually become a cost burden, that's where your strategy gets out of play. So it's always good to understand your organization, your goals internally and externally, understand how you want to engage with your customers, and execute mobile effectively there.
You see, that makes sense. You can do too much. It's just like the web. When you start implementing things for the sake of implementation, not because there's a business need, you're going to go down a path where you're going to give up or get frustrated, or you're not going to service your clients' needs. And I think that's a very important point. So let me just paraphrase that again, is that make sure there's a business need and a requirement, whether that's a consumer, your customer need, or whether that's an internal need in order to be able to build something out that will benefit the company, that people are asking for, that would actually help them, and build towards that vein instead of just building because, hey, this is cool.
Sure, and there's an even way. I can't even talk today. There's an easier way to even think about this. What problem are you trying to solve? And can mobile solve that problem? I think certain companies will, again, use mobile for the sake of using mobile and say, we have a mobile strategy. Or, for example, they'll say, let's build an app. And I remember the days of when I would speak to different brands and they say, we want to build out a mobile strategy. We're going to build an app. And I go, that's fantastic. What do you want the app to do? I don't know. We just want an application. We feel that that's how we're going to start our mobile strategy. And see, that's the mistake there, because they'll go and they'll attach themselves to vendors who are ready to build them an application. But the question is, what is this app going to do? What problem is it going to solve? and what type of return are you going to get on this investment? Those are the key things you need to think about. You can't build a building until you calculate the cost first.
Oh, it's sound advice. Sound advice from a guy who's been doing this for a long time, working with one of the biggest brands, and really excelling in this spot. All right, I gotta ask, what else can you do? Like when you start to think about how this industry is going to change, so how mobile is going to change the airline industry. Are you starting to look at things like location-based marketing? Are you looking at things like obviously tying loyalty to the application? Are you looking at things like I don't know, in-app entertainment and those kind of things, or in-flight entertainment through mobile? What are you guys contemplating at JetBlue?
So there's a couple of ways to look at this. Let's first look at the technology side. I'm being in the travel vertical, I have to keep myself apprised of what's happening in the mobile industry. There are a few technologies out there that I see that are going to have a huge impact on the travel industry. For example, near field communications. I'm a huge fan of it. I see more and more devices are being developed with this ability. And the question is how could airlines use this secure technology to engage with their customers? And I've seen a few airlines out there start to experiment with it already, for the ability to give their passengers a boarding pass through their device, and they were able to go through the security checkpoint with a near-field communication scanner. So that's just the service side there. There's also a whole commerce side, perhaps purchasing items on board and swiping your phone across the reader to be able to purchase something. And so there's so many opportunities just with one technology, just from a service side and also from a mobile commerce side as well. Something else we're starting to see that's growing is mobile boarding passes itself. Many airlines today are offering mobile boarding passes, and I'm happy to say JetBlue is working on an initiative for mobile boarding passes as well, because we want to deliver this service to our customers. I'd say that there's a certain element of it to being green, because you don't have to print out a piece of paper anymore. But again, it's empowering the customer. They're able to book their flight, check into their flight, get their flight information, and have their boarding pass right on their phone. So again, the more tools we can give to our customers, the better experience that they're going to have. And when you think about it, it goes back to that question: what problem are we trying to solve? Customers want to be able to go to the airport and zip right through security. They want to be able to get to their gate. They don't want to have to stand in lines. So the more that we can deliver to them through the mobile channel, the better their experience will be.
So on that vein, let's dive a little bit deeper into some of these things, because it's really interesting. There's a battle, and this because it's so important to what you guys are doing. There's a battle right now for the share of this non-existent market yet, which is called the mobile wallet. We're not quite there yet, right? But when you start to think about how that is going to have an impact on the airline industry around security and around identification and payment, and as you said, ticketing, and then onboard payment, this could be something that is two things. First of all, revolutionary, right? That the device that you're carrying becomes your passport, your ticket, and your wallet, big, and your loyalty card, big. But then also that there's many more opportunities for an airline like JetBlue to do microtransactions, onboard microtransactions for things that you would not normally sell. Like you've got the sandwiches and the booze and all that kind of stuff, and the drinks. But then you've also got the headphones and the movies. And does that, what kind of opportunity? Two questions here. First of all, how important is that wallet? And then second, what kind of opportunities does that open up for JetBlue around additional revenue opportunities on board or around?
So I would say it's important because customers today are demanding this technology. More and more people are embracing mobile commerce. They're trusting the channel. They're sharing information. They're pairing their bank accounts. They're using this medium. And I think over the time, this goes back to my MMA hat, that the carriers are starting to embrace this as well and enable more companies to be able to either do carrier billing or perhaps bill directly to the credit cards. So as an industry as a whole, and I'd say within the North American market, that we're really starting to see a great adoption there. And it's a huge opportunity for JetBlue. It's a huge opportunity for airlines all around. To be able to leverage this technology. Back in the day, we used to only have cash cabins where you'd pay for items with cash. Then they moved to the credit card, where it became this cashless cabin. And I'm Not a fortune teller, but I can tell you that with mobile commerce growing so much, we're going to start to see mobile commerce in the air as well. Something that's very simple for the user to be able to use. And when you think about it, the device, when you create an application and you've tied your loyalty account to it, the airline will know some of the likes and dislikes that you have, and they'll be able to know what are some of the items that you purchase on board. And I can almost foresee that perhaps airlines will be able to offer their customers perhaps discounts or coupons on some of the favorite items that they have. So it's really a matter of keeping your ear to the ground and understanding how customers are using this technology, and then making sure that you adapt to it in the future.
I love the idea. So I'm a frequent flyer, and I'm up in Canada, so there's not a lot of JetBlue interaction that I get to do. But I love this kind of concept of the like the carriers. I think we think the same way along the carriers when it comes to the fact that the carriers are that center, right? You can't do anything without the carriers. They own the customers. They give you the rights to their networks. They own everything. And they're just waking up to that right now about the potential beyond games and apps. But you look at the airline, something like JetBlue as that center, that hub as well. And then what you end up having is this, you got the spokes that come off. You've got onboard commerce. You've got, and that can be food and beverage. That can be entertainment. That can be games. That can be when you land duty free, tie-ins to duty free based on your proclivities, your likes, your dislikes, deals that are going on in local duty free shops. It could also be while I'm sitting in the lounge pushing out loyalty member discounts for shops that are around the airport, as well as on-board discounts. Hey, we've only got 9 turkey sandwiches left. You better buy it now because you're going to be disappointed. So it goes to enhancing that customer service, but it opens up real, interesting push opportunities for commerce. What do you think about that kind of stuff?
Oh, I think it's fantastic. I think it's a huge opportunity, and airlines today are always looking for
Yes,
ways
they are.
that they can offer more services to their customer. But the key with mobile is that they're just making that experience that much more easier. So customers are going to demand certain services on board, and really, I think the role that mobile plays is making those transactions a lot easier.
I totally agree. All right, total departure here. Total departure, and this might be the last question. Well, we'll see what your answer is. What is keeping you up at night? What is getting you so excited about this space? I know you're like me, passionate about it. You love mobile. You love to see how it really does impact business and life and everything in between. But if you were to think about what is it that's getting you so excited right now? What's keeping you up at night in an excited way, in a good way?
I always like to think about what's next. I'm excited about that next device that's coming out. I'm excited about that next technology and who's going to use it first. And not just who's going to use it first, but who's going to execute it properly first. And so my thought working for JetBlue is to really keep my ear to the ground, understand what technology is coming next, and making sure that when we execute it, we can be leaders in the space and people can learn from us. One thing I'd like to give an example of is with the social space. When you look at, we have a program called Go Places. This program allows you to take your loyalty account, your TrueBlue account, and we created a Facebook app where you're able to pair your loyalty account to that application, and there's a dashboard. And what you can do is when you visit JetBlue terminals, you can actually check into the terminal with Facebook. Now, people normally do this when they travel, for example, from New York to Florida. They post on their Facebook, hey, I'm going from New York to Florida in the sun, and I'm going to have a great time. So we wanted to figure out how could we take this common action that people do and pair it with a business need. Well, to build more TrueBlue members, when you check in at the terminal with the specific Go Places program, we would reward you with loyalty points. And a couple of things are happening here. We're using mobile, we're using geolocation, and we're using social. And we're rewarding our customers for actions that they already do. And the results is that we're getting more buzz on our social channels. We're getting more customers signing up for our TrueBlue account. So then we're able to give them more information about JetBlue flights and again, learn more about their needs and wants from us as an airline. So really, when you take all of these technologies together and you merge them, it just makes that experience all that much better, and it helps us as an organization grow and build that awareness through the social channels. And it also shows our customers that we're innovative and that we can use this technology. So back to your question, I'm always looking for what's the next thing that's going to happen in the future. What's the next technology that we can use to service our customers? But it doesn't mean that we need to take everything that's out there. It also just means that we need to come back as an organization and look at what could we use, what business problem could we solve with this new technology, and how could we deliver to our customers in an efficient manner. So that's what keeps me up at night. Also, what keeps me up at night is knowing that I get to get up tomorrow morning and come straight back to work and have a great time.
I love that. All right, so it spawned one more question. I hope you don't mind, because it's around airlines, and I'm up in Canada, so it cost me more to fly Toronto to Toronto, which is a 45-minute, not even a 40-minute flight from where I am, than it does to fly to London, England, which is across the ocean. So what we typically do up in Canada is, and there's not as much competition, and there's getting more, but I always hunt. I travel, it's so weird to say, but I travel based on the price that I can get for the flight rather than the dates that I want to fly on. And I think that's indicative of probably the industry as a whole, where we're looking for cheap flights. It's like, I really want to go to Mexico, but I'll take Florida because it's cheaper. In that kind of era that we're in right now, which is conservative, cash conservative, is your mobile play and your mobile social local play with JetBlue the way that is that how you guys are fighting that, the discount seekers?
So, the way I'll look at that is customers today are not only looking for discounts, but they're also looking for service. They're also looking for that product. And JetBlue has a product that's unmatched to any other airline. And, this is just my personal opinion. I always say that even in this economy, iPads are selling like crazy. iPhones are selling like crazy. In an economy where everyone's price conscious, everyone should be buying small little flip phones or feature phones. But no, they go for this great product because they know that it's a product that's efficient. They know that it serves all their needs, and it's exciting. So when you think about it, JetBlue customers who are really loyal, they fly JetBlue because of the product. They fly us because we're efficient. They fly us because we're friendly, and because we have an array of products that we offer to them, such as free DirecTV, free snacks on board. And with our digital products emerging, with our website and with our iPhone, there's some exciting innovation coming down the way that only a JetBlue customer can really experience. So we embrace that, and we keep that in mind of what can we deliver to our customer from a product level that keeps them loyal to us regardless of the price.
Best answer ever. Customer loyalty is so important, isn't it? And ultimately, that's what you're talking about: is customers. It's crazy.
That's it.
All right, so that's it. I'm not gonna. I got 1,000 more questions, but I'm gonna save it for another time where we get together, where you've implemented some technology that's really cool, whether that's in the back end or the front end. Or you've advanced this industry, which I think is what JetBlue is trying to do in the mobile space. I love how you've embraced this. So how do people who don't know about you guys interact with you, find you, download the application? Where are you guys?
So we're on www.jetblue.com. And you can actually go to www.jetblue.com/mobile. So you can learn a little bit more about what we're offering our customers today in the mobile channel. It's a great place to always come back and revisit and see what new services we're going to offer to our customers in the future.
That's great, Jonathan. I really appreciate it. And obviously, this is available. The app is available on for iOS devices and for BlackBerry. Is that right?
So right now, the mobile site is available across all different smartphone devices, and right now we have an iPhone application, and we're working on the Android application coming very soon.
Excellent. Jonathan, I can't thank you enough for doing this again. I really appreciate it. I can't believe, I always get surprised when people say yes the second time. I mean, it's either been so long since the first time and they've forgotten, or it's actually been an enjoyable experience. So I like to think it's the second, not the first.
Rob, it's been a pleasurable experience. It's always a pleasure to talk to you, and I look forward to connecting with you again next time we do something amazing here.
You can count on it. Jonathan, thank you so much. Folks, I've been speaking with Jonathan Stephen, who is the head of mobile for JetBlue Airways. Go to jetblue.com. You can search in the Apple's App Store for the application, or you can just go to the mobile version of the website. I really appreciate his candor, his insight. I loved speaking with Jonathan when we did it about a year and a half ago. I'm going to make this regular. We see if Jonathan could be that airline guy that keeps us on top of what's going on in the mobile industry when it's in relation to the airline industry. So I just put you on the spot there, Jonathan. You don't have to answer it. Don't worry. Thank you, Jonathan, for doing this. Folks, wherever you are, whatever you are doing, I really appreciate the fact that you bring this into your day. However small a portion of this, I know you found tremendous value in this conversation. Love to hear from you. untethered@gmail.com. Reach out. Let me know. If you're a company that you think should be here, that you're doing some innovative things, reach out. I'd love to have you on here. If you're an industry leader, same thing. Bring it. I want to talk to you guys. I don't say no to these interviews because I think that it's something that we need to do. We need to spread the word of what's going on in the mobile industry. So until next time, Jonathan, thank you. Folks out there, thank you. We'll see you on another episode of Untether.tv. See you, Jonathan.
Cheers, Rob.